Well, the CoWIN app is the basis, the IT backbone behind the entire vaccination process in the country. It's run by R.S. Sharma, the chairman of CoWIN, who joins us now. Thank you, sir, very much for being with us. How are you gearing up for a further expansion of the age portfolio? At the moment, it's 45 plus, but there's an assumption that going forward at some stage, it will be expanded to all adults in our country. What does that entail for the CoWIN app?
Well, Vishnu, that's a very good question. What is actually going to happen is that CoWIN has been prepared as a platform which will enable the implementation of the policy which the government decides. So in a way, tomorrow, suppose they say that we are now opening up for people with 40 years of age or whatever, we will just have to plug in a new variable, new value. So basically, it's just a rule engine. It's just a set of rules which we will have to plug in. So we see absolutely no difficulty in changing those parameters and essentially enabling the implementation of the policy. So for example, till some time back, if you remember, we had a policy that up to 45 to 60 years of age, you will have to give in what is called a comorbidity certificate. There, CoWIN was asking for a certificate. Now CoWIN has stopped asking for that certificate from 1st April onwards. So therefore, absolutely, I see no problem. Right. With regard to the scalability of CoWIN, this is actually, again, a very interesting question because CoWIN is a highly scalable platform. If you look at it, the numbers we are dealing with is, let's say, 40 lakh, let's say, vaccinations, maybe day before yesterday or day. I don't exactly remember the figures. But this 4 million vaccinations, now we have actually recorded 4 million vaccination in a window of 8 hours. And actually the maximum, vaccination probably in 1 hour was about 1 million. So we recorded 1 million vaccinations per hour. We issued 1 million certificates, digitally, verifiable certificates, which is actually, by the way, corresponds to the overall WHO standard. WHO is developing a standard for these certificates, and we are aligning ourselves to that kind of a standard. So in that we issued 1 million certificate in an hour, which are verifiable. So I think it's a fairly scalable platform. We have tested the platform for as many as 10,000 transactions per second.
So, sir, earlier on when you had started this, the problem was actually getting scheduling data from hospitals. The app may have been ready, but scheduling processes were taking time. Has that been entirely ironed out?
Yes, Vishnu, that has been entirely ironed out. What is also, however, the problem is that let's say a private hospital takes vaccines for about a week, okay? And, now if you ask that he publishes the data for 1 month, scheduling for 1 month, then, the private hospital says that, look, I don't have the visibility into the vaccine for 1 month. And secondly, he's not ready to take the vaccine for 1 month, so to say, because he has to pay upfront for the vaccine. So that being the case, in a way, looking forward, you are not able to schedule, let's say, a vaccination 2 months henceforth. It is like, it's like you also have restrictions on the railway reservation, which basically says that you can't book a ticket for more than 3 months ahead. So that is the kind of case, but we see no difficulty because people are easily able to schedule their vaccination, reschedule them, and the system is absolutely flexible in terms of the fact that suppose you are vaccinated yourself at place X and now you are traveling to some other place and those 4 to 6 period window happens when you are at place Y, you will be able to get the scheduling at Y, number one. The only restrictions being that you will be basically able to see only those centers where vaccine A, which you have got in the first instance, is being delivered, being used. So that's the kind of flexibility which we have. So you can vaccinate yourself anytime, anywhere, any day. That's the flexibility.
Sir, in the case of Covaxin, it's a 4-week interval versus Covishield, which is now between 4 and 8 weeks. That variable in your system, does it add an element of something you need to look at, of having to ensure that the system reflects the nature of the vaccine, because there'll be other vaccines which come online as well?
Absolutely. What we are doing is, initially, Vishnu, we were actually scheduling the second vaccination schedule also. After you got your first jab, the system itself used to schedule your second vaccination date. Now, because of the difference and also because of the fact that it may not be very convenient for you to get the vaccination done at the second, dose at that particular date. We have decided to discontinue the fixing of the, auto scheduling of the vaccination. However, we are aware that in our rule, we are saying that the Covaxin will have 4 to 6 weeks and Covishield will have 4 to 8 weeks.
Right.
So what we have now done is that we are reminding the persons. So for example, suppose you have had Covaxin and you want to have 4 weeks about to pass. We will say at the end of 3 weeks saying that, Fred, you have not got yourself scheduled as yet. Please get yourself scheduled. And when 4 weeks comes, we will give him another reminder. And 5th week, etc. So essentially we will ensure that the person fixes, because we know exactly whether that person has got the second jab or not, and whether he's scheduled for second jab or not. So that granular information being with us, we are able to effectively monitor each individual case.
So, sir, a lot of illiterate and poor people in our country completely on the other side of the digital divide. They can't access the app. How is that a challenge in terms of the fight against COVID and the process of administering the process, which, is obviously on a digital back end?
I think that's also an extremely good question, Vishnu. So what we are doing is that the process is extremely inclusive and simple. So what you need is just a smartphone. Now we have in our country about 700 million smartphone connections, 700 million internet connections. So it is quite, ubiquitous in some sense. However, it is possible that you don't have a smartphone. Suppose your neighbor has a smartphone or your son has a smartphone. And you can now include 4 people on one account. So in that case, if if one family has got one smartphone or one neighbor has got one smartphone, these 4 guys can come, and these 4 people are treated differently individually, which means that, one person can schedule his or her vaccination at place X, another at place Y. So there are 4 different entities. So in a way, the system is fairly inclusive. It's also fairly simple to use because you don't need any other identity. You just need your smartphone, the number of the phone, and then thereafter, the SMS will come to you. So suppose you are using it on a smartphone and you give not that number, but your feature phone number, the entire communication will thereafter happen on that feature phone. So it has been made as inclusive as it can be. However, you are very right that there may be certain people still who may not be able to access, even who may not, let's take an example, they may not even have a smartphone. So what can happen? We have the system of walk-in kind of vaccinations. So which means that if you have not done the reservation, you can still go to the railway station and still board the train. So it's not as if that you have to have the reservation. You can go and you can get it done. The only element of uncertainty becomes that if the whole thing is completely full, then you may be disappointed. But normally what we are seeing the trend is that a majority of these people are just going in a walk-in and they are getting it done. However, going as walk-in does not decrease the digital footprint part of things, because at the time of vaccination you are verified and your vaccination event is recorded and your phone number is recorded, whatever it is, feature phone or otherwise, and then the communication starts taking place on that phone. So in a way, your scheduling of appointment, non-scheduling of appointment may not work. However, the other part will start working absolutely seamlessly.
Well, there was one notification from the Health Secretary directed at healthcare workers, many of those who hadn't registered properly or perhaps gotten someone else to come on their front. This has been reported. I believe it's been opened up again to healthcare workers who haven't been properly vaccinated. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. But actually what had happened is that the window for the healthcare worker, as you know, worked from 16th of January till 1st of March, till 28th of February. So we had about 1.5 months of window, and thereafter also this second jab, etc., for them continued. And we thought, general impression was that at least the first jab for the healthcare workers has already been covered. And therefore, we realized that, a lot of other people were coming and, getting themselves vaccinated and impersonating the healthcare workers, etc. That was some complaints which were coming. And therefore, we kind of closed it. But I think thereafter, a lot of people say that, look, as a health worker also, I was not able to go, and you should not, just because some other people are taking advantage of it, you should not exclude a genuine kind of people also. So I think that has been open for some more time so that people are able to go and get themselves vaccinated if they are healthcare worker or frontline workers.
So ultimately, once the vaccine does start expanding, you'll have children who will need to be vaccinated as well. Many children in our country will not have smartphones, and therefore that's also something you have to factor in, right? A parent's phone, for example. Any thoughts on that?
No, you are absolutely right. That is why we have not made a phone to person one-to-one correspondence. We are saying one phone can be used for 4 people, and that way include children also.
And that's the way it's going to work in the future.
It's going to work. And as I explained to you, you don't need to have any phone. You can just be without a phone and you can go to the walk-in center and you can get it done. So look, the whole purpose of technology is to facilitate people. Technology is not meant to obstruct or make people's life difficult. And that is the focus with which we all started. It's a completely people-centric, application of technology. That's the fundamental, thing in our mind. When we created Aadhaar, one of the questions was that, look, people don't have an identity paper. Now, without an identity paper, how can you create identity paper? And we were of the view, look, if you exclude such people who do not have any identity paper, then the basic purpose of this whole exercise is useless.
Right.
Therefore, what is important is to ensure that we deploy a technology. Technology does not become an end in themselves. Technology is just a means to certain end. And that means essentially that end is to have a very transparent, responsible, traceable, and also verifiable digital services which facilitates people. Otherwise, people, if they are not given certificate, if their account is not kept, they might, be given another vaccine at the second dose, but not the first one. And therefore, it's important for us to keep track of vaccination of each individual. That's how it is made.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Wonderful speaking to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Very much, sir. Thank you very much for speaking.